Reaching the highest mountains in the world requires patience. The trek to Everest takes 12 days on foot just to reach base camp. K2 requires an 8-day hike through one of the most remote valleys on Earth, and if something goes wrong, rescue is a matter of luck. In comparison, reaching the highest mountains in Europe is ridiculously easy. Take a train from Zurich, and 3 hours and 15 minutes later, you are standing in Zermatt, at the foot of the Matterhorn, where a cable car will take you comfortably to 3,883 meters altitude. Getting there is not the challenge. Every year, between 60 and 80 million people walk into the most dangerous mountain range on Earth, and most of them have no idea they are doing it. The European Alps contain 82 peaks above 4,000 meters and host the deadliest mountain on the planet by total body count. They are also the most accessible, serious mountain environment in the world, reachable from major European cities in under 2 hours, crisscrossed with cable cars, ski resorts, and well-marked hiking trails. That combination of extreme terrain and extreme accessibility is what makes them uniquely lethal. Today we look at exactly what the Alps are, what lives inside them, and what they have cost the people who have underestimated them. And by the time we reach the mountain with more recorded deaths than Everest and K2 combined, you will understand why the most dangerous thing about the Alps is not that they are hard to reach. It is that they are not. What Mont Blanc, the Eiger, and the Matterhorn share is not simply extreme terrain. It has extreme infrastructure combined with extreme terrain. No permit systems, no mandatory guides for experienced climbers, no government restrictions on access. The mountains are open to anyone willing to walk in. That openness defines the Alps, and it is the single greatest contributor to the death toll. The European Alps stretch in a 1,200-kilometer arc across 8 countries: France, Switzerland, Italy, Germany, Austria, Liechtenstein, Slovenia, and Monaco. They were formed roughly 65 million years ago when the African and Eurasian tectonic plates collided, forcing the ancient seabed upward into some of the most dramatic peaks on the planet. The range contains 82 peaks above 4,000 meters, feeds the Rhine, the Rhone, the Po, and the Danube, and provides up to 90% of fresh water to lowland Europe. Zurich, Geneva, Munich, Milan, Turin, and Innsbruck all sit within 2 hours of the high mountain zone by train or road. The infrastructure here, including helicopter rescue services, cable cars, mountain huts, marked trails, and a railway network that penetrates directly into the peaks, makes this the most accessible mountain range on Earth. In Chamonix, France, a cable car carries passengers to 3,842 meters in under 20 minutes. From there, the summit of Mont Blanc is a hard but walkable route away. That accessibility, as we will see, is both a gift and a fatal problem. Between 60 and 80 million people travel to the Alps every year. There are over 600 ski resorts and 10,000 ski installations spread across France, Switzerland, Austria, and Italy. The French Alps alone contain more than 17,000 kilometers of ski slopes. In summer, those same valleys and ridges fill with hikers, thousands of kilometers of marked trails connecting peaks, glaciers, and villages across 8 countries. Tourism in the Alps generates close to 50 billion euros in annual turnover and supports between 10 and 12% of all jobs in the Alpine region. These mountains are not just a natural wonder, they are one of the largest tourism economies on the planet. The highest point in the Alps is Mont Blanc, on the France-Italy border, at 4,808 meters. It is the highest peak in the entire European Union, and, by cumulative total, the deadliest mountain on Earth. Between 6,000 and 8,000 people are estimated to have died on its slopes over time. More than on Everest, more than on K2, more than on any other mountain in the world. The reason is not technical difficulty. On its standard route, the Voie Royale, Mont Blanc is physically demanding but not technically complex. What makes it lethal is exactly what makes it attractive. It is reachable by almost anyone willing to try. Around 20,000 people attempt the summit each year. Many of them arrive underprepared and unfamiliar with the terrain. The sheer volume of people on the mountain creates its own dangers. Bottlenecks on narrow ridges, inexperienced climbers dislodging rock onto those below, and teams pressing on in deteriorating weather because they have already invested months of preparation to be there. The Grand Couloir, known as the Corridor of Death, is a mandatory section on the Goûter route exposed to constant rockfall. Sudden weather collapses, crevasse falls, and avalanches account for the rest. Rescue services in Chamonix average 12 missions per weekend during peak season. Approximately 30 people die on Mont Blanc every year. 70 kilometers to the northeast, in the Bernese Alps of Switzerland, stands a mountain with a shorter history, but a name that carries a different kind of weight: the Eiger. At 3,967 meters, it is not among the tallest peaks in the Alps, but its north face, 1,800 meters of fractured limestone, rising almost vertically from the valley floor, is the largest north face in the Alpine range, and the most notorious wall in mountaineering history. The Germans call it the Mordwand, the murder wall. That name began as a dark pun on Nordwand, north face, but it earned its meaning before the face was even climbed. 9 climbers had already died on it before the first successful ascent, completed on the 24th of July, 1938, by a joint German-Austrian team of 4. Since then, at least 64 more have died on the Nordwand. The actual climbing route winds for over 2,500 meters, despite the face being only 1,800 meters high. A typical ascent takes 2 full days. Every named section carries its own chapter of history: the Hinterstoisser Traverse, the Spider, the Death Bivouac. There is also a railway running inside the mountain, with windows carved into the rock face, so tourists can watch climbers from a heated carriage below. Then there is the Matterhorn. Perhaps the most recognized mountain silhouette in the world is a near-perfect pyramid straddling the Swiss-Italian border at 4,478 meters. Its first ascent in July 1865 ended in catastrophe when 4 of the 7 climbers fell to their deaths on the descent. Over 500 deaths have been recorded since, and the village of Zermatt maintains a dedicated climbers' cemetery. An average of 6 climbers die here each year. The real danger is not primarily technical, experienced alpinists finding it manageable, but the sheer number of people attempting it creates its own category of risk. Up to 150 people attempt the Matterhorn on a single summer day. Rockfall triggered by overcrowding is a growing problem as climate change loosens the permafrost. The Hornley Ridge, the standard route, requires a full day of climbing on fixed ropes and mixed terrain. There are no helicopter landing zones on the upper mountain, meaning rescue above a certain elevation requires guides to climb up to reach those in distress. A climber can step off a train at Zermatt, reachable from Zurich Airport in under 4 hours, and be at the base within 30 minutes. The Matterhorn is simultaneously one of the most beautiful and one of the most unforgiving mountains in the world. The same range also shelters one of the richest concentrations of wildlife in temperate Europe. The Alps are home to an estimated 30,000 animal species and 13,000 plant species. In the lower forests, red deer move quietly at dawn and dusk, and the European brown bear has made a slow return to several alpine regions after more than a century of absence. Higher up, the chamois appears a goat antelope with specialized hooves, capable of ascending 1,000 meters in under 15 minutes when alarmed. The alpine ibex, hunted to near extinction by the 19th century, now numbers over 40,000 across the Swiss Alps. Golden eagles work the thermals overhead. Marmots whistle sharp warnings at the first sign of a threat. The alpine salamander is the only European amphibian to give birth to live young above 1,400 meters. A mother may carry her offspring for up to 3 years before birth. And on the exposed limestone ledges between 2,000 and 3,000 meters grows the edelweiss, protected by law, impossible to legally pick anywhere in the range. For centuries, young men climbed dangerous ground to bring back a single flower as proof of devotion. The mountains made that a test of its own. One odd fact about the Alps: there are actually 3 mountain ranges on Earth that carry the name. Most people picture the snow-capped peaks of Central Europe, and they would be right. But there are also the Japanese Alps, running through the island of Honshu, where an English archaeologist coined the name in the 1880s. And the Southern Alps of New Zealand have a 500-kilometer spine topped by Aoraki, Mount Cook, at 3,724 meters. 3 ranges, 3 continents, 1 name.